What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to go over the trades that we took today and the plan going into tomorrow. So again, another massive gap down today overnight. A lot of times when we get these massive moves overnight, the charts get a little funky with the system. So I only took one trade today. It was a loss, and I'll go over it right here. So it was pretty simple trade. I mean, the market's bearish, 30 minutes cross right here. Again, though, with these big moves overnight, the 30-minute chart always looks weird. And then, we go to the 0-day chart. This is what we got. If we go here, 592 puts, 5-minute time frame. Obviously, we got this cross right off of open. I was not buying this cross at all, not one bit, just because we were so far from this 10 SMA right here, and we never got a direct pullback to it. So I never shorted here. Didn't like the risk to reward on it, so I waited for a 50 dip. We got the 50 dip down here. I shorted at like 1028, and yeah, we ended up breaking below it. Took a loss, is what it is. A lot of the times it's just a weird day when there's these big moves overnight. So that was the only trade I took for today. There was nothing else that I liked. This negative price right here, not a trade you want to take. Why? Because 30 minutes bearish. So you got to know what trades are the most probable and most likely to produce profit. And negative price right here is not, I'm not taking that. Like, we're bearish, market's bearish, not taking that. You just got to learn to be patient. Okay, maybe it did work out a little bit, but I mean, this 50 literally I don't think ever turned down until, who knows, all the way down here. And at that point, I mean, the contracts are like destroyed, and we are chopping a lot today. So I mean, if you even tried this negative for us, you probably got cooked. And yeah, I mean, it was a very simple day. I just tried that short, and that was that. I mean, I didn't feel like sticking around since the puts went negative. I mean, we never got a recross of them, so there really wasn't another opportunity. You could have tried a short at this 10 SMA here. If you look here on the Fridays, I'm talking the 10 SMA, 30-minute right here. We ended up pulling back into this 10. Which, I mean, this could be another entry point right here for you. Not on the 0-day chart, but this 30-minute. A lot of times we do get this pullback to the 10, and we get a solid bounce. I mean, if you caught this 10 dip, I mean, these went from $2 a contract to $3 a contract, so 50% on these contracts. So there's probably a decent move on NQ as well. You probably got like 50 to 80 points if you bought that 10 dip, but I stayed out. I just didn't feel like sticking around for the day. And yeah, we're gonna see what happens tomorrow. Kind of depends how we open. So scenarios for tomorrow. Right now the market's bearish, but like I said, a lot of the times these charts end up giving out and crossing negative when we get these big moves. If we gap down tomorrow and hold the trend, that's great. We'll be looking for 0 DT cross on puts, 50 dip on puts. If you look here, this hourly chart looks pretty bearish. I mean, the 1 hour just crossed, 50 is curling up. I mean, it does look pretty bearish, but we did rip a bit after hours, I believe, after 4:15 Eastern. So I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, these contracts right here are sitting at 163, I believe. Or no, that's just the 50 SMA. My bad. Or is that the current price of the contracts, or is that the 50? Maybe it's just showing the 50 SMA. But yeah, we open bearish, obviously focused on the short side. If we end up, if these contracts end up breaking below the 50 SMA, all right, we're going to be going neutral. Most likely this will push us into the 30-minute 50 here on the call side. So, if we do rip tomorrow, just be on the lookout for this 50 SMA. You don't want to be long when we're, pushing in this 50. It's a major resistance area. So let's say we pull up all the way up in here, and for some reason the calls aren't crossed yet, and the calls are starting to cross right at this 50. I'm not taking that trade. That's just not a high confidence trade, high probable trade. So, that's just not a setup you want to be taking. Will it work? Maybe. But in that scenario, your best bet is waiting for that 0-day chart to go negative and go short. If we did pop up into this 50 here and the calls were crossing, just wait for it to go negative, and that will pretty much confirm the rejection at the 50. So yeah, it's all about just knowing what trades you want to be taking. Like a lot of people that trade the system, I'm telling you, a lot of people, you could be one of them. They don't trade it right. They take trades that aren't you're not supposed to be taking. So I don't. It just doesn't make sense to me when people take trades they're not supposed to, and they're wondering why they're losing. I mean, it's a blueprint you need to follow. There's certain trades to take under each market condition. If you follow them, you'll do well. If you take trades that are just against what the rules are, I mean, you're not going to do well. So if you like not doing well, I mean, I guess you could take them, and if you like losing money, you could take them. But you got to know the trades you want to be taking every day. At open, you should know what you want to look for. So today, what was I looking for? I was looking for a 50 dip. we got it, I entered, and we got stopped out. It's very simple. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, I know I took a loss, but I mean, I'm buying the 50 dip any day of the week when we're trending. First tap of the 50, I'm buying it. Like, it's just, it's like it's a robotic process when you're trading. You just take the trades that you're supposed to, and in the end, you're gonna come out green. Especially with the system, you're definitely going to come out green if you follow it right, trade it right, and know how to scale out of trades. Like, again, I see, like, there's people that trade and they take these like very, very, very small gains, and it really amazes me because the system gives, like, I'd say on average, like, probably up like mid 30%, I'd say 30% to 60% a trade on a typical day. Anything like that's for 0-day chart or 0-day contracts. So for futures NQ, I'm not taking anything before 40 points. Like, that's just how it is. I'm not taking like pennies with the system because I know the moves it provides and what it's capable of. Like, a lot of times the trades will go like 50 to 80 points on a good trade. So it's like, why would I be selling all my position at 30 points when I know that most of the time it's going to net me like 50 plus? It just doesn't make sense. Then when you do take a loss, your loss is going to be way bigger than your loser, and you're just like scrapping for these like 10% gains that I don't understand why people do. The saying like see green take green just doesn't make any sense to me, because it's like, okay, I see these guys on Twitter that like call out a trade and it goes up 10% on a 0-day contract, and it flips right on them and they say, oh, you should have taken the 10%. It's like, okay, it's like, was that part of your plan? Were you only looking for 10% with like a 10% stop loss, like a 1-1 risk there? Probably not. You want your losers to be less than your winners, and your winners be greater than your losers. So it's like, if I could get 50 to 80 points on a trade and my stop, my losing trades are like 30 to 40, it's like, okay, that's good. That's how I like it. So yeah, it's a little bit of a rant there, but like, it just doesn't make sense to me when people like take 5 to 10% gains on a trade, and it's like you're risking so much more if it goes against you, especially on like a 0-day contract. Like, if I'm trading a 0DT chart, my stop loss is probably going to be like 30 to 40% just because of how volatile they are. So it's like, if I'm trading a 0-day contract, I'm looking for at least like 35-40% before I'm even starting to trim anything. It just doesn't make sense to me, because if I lose, I'm probably going to lose around that amount too. So depending on like what the entry is and what the chart looks like, obviously it'll be like probably less than that if you're buying like a 50 dip or a 10 dip and you have a small window to lose, or small risk to reward, or I mean like a good risk to reward on it. So yeah, it's a little bit of my rant, but that's pretty much all I got. Like I said, I gave you guys the plan. Just look for those trades. If we're neutral, cross either side as long as we're not at the 50. Bearish, 0DT cross on puts, 50 dip on puts, and yeah, we're just going to see how we open tomorrow. If you guys enjoy, drop a sub. If you guys want to learn, join the core down below. That's where I share the trades I take, and Colton also posts, he mainly posts option trades, so if you're into options, we post those there. If you trade futures, I post the futures trades. I mean, you can still trade SPY. It's literally the same thing. If I'm short, you're buying puts. If I'm long, you're buying calls. Pretty simple. So yeah, that's all I got. I'm out. Peace.